Hello, everybody. Welcome to Graded Point Live. And what you see on your screen currently is the greatest shirt ever created by man. Because I inspired this. I want everybody to go to Indicron.com and buy this shirt. It's only $20 to $22 depending on your size. Let's go to the website. Let's check it out. And they got other merchandise too. Hey, Indicron's got the shop up. They got some hats and all that good stuff. But who cares? Let's go look at this. Here we go. Indicron with the hard IE.
I was gonna say, only this shirt has that, huh? I want it.
Right? It's got that hard IE. You got different colors. You got blue. You got black. You got green. You got gray, and you got red. Hell yeah, dude! And also, let's look at the sizes. You got. Wait a minute. Let's go here. Okay, open it up. You got extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, 3XL, and big boy.
Big boy.
We don't call it 4XL around my place. We call it big boy. But I just thought.
Do they have the special women's sizes?
It says unisex,
that are like,
Piper.
I know. I was asking if.
I haven't seen women clothes yet.
Aw.
You ought to make that suggestion. You know John Luke. Just tell him, hey, need some women clothes.
Yeah, because it's actually, unisex is great, but I will say that I do like when stuff is tailored for a chick because my boobs are kind of on the big side, and it makes those shirts uncomfortable-ish.
Yeah,
and look kind of not as good on me as if it was women tailored.
Right. I'm gonna give them some more suggestions if they're happen to be watching. We need some like toboggans. That would be cool. I
want a beanie that says hard IE.
yeah, a beanie that says hard IE on it. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to pimp them out real quick because I thought that was really cool for them to do that, and that image will stay up there the entire time. Red to rat match the MAGA hat to trigger SJWs. Yes, absolutely. So tonight it's going to be a little different. There's not going to be much news. We're just going to have a discussion. Since there's no round table, since nobody else is here, we're going to just do a across the table conversation.
Yeah, it'd be like, sorry, I looked at the chat. We have one of those cute little cafe tables.
See, Seth, kind of big. Piper for understatement of the year. Damn dog. What are you just gonna get wrecked like that, dude? So let's talk about the difference between Gamergate and Comicsgate. And Piper has the unique situation because she was apparently thrust into both of them, not by her own accord.
Yeah.
So I will define Gamergate as how I define it, not as some other people would define it. To me, Gamergate was a controversy that started with the allegations about gaming journalists giving preferential treatment, not review, preferential treatment to
and reviews. Come on now.
But there were no reviews. There was no 1 to 10 review or anything like that. But there was preferential treatment to promote certain stuff for a certain individual who I will not name. And that
it's just that then they got outed for the whole thing.
Yeah, and then as
everybody was tired of.
Yeah, and then as things went on, there was more stuff that was found out of what these gaming journalists were doing, and that was kind of spark. That was like the spark that kind of where everybody had a suspicion that stuff like that was going on. It kind of all came out in the open. In my opinion, things like that goes back to I don't know if you remember the story about what happened with Driver 3. Whereas essentially they were paying people to give a good review for Driver 3. Yeah. So I mean, it goes back that far, and then the stuff with like what's his name? What was his name? Gertzman. Like he gave a review, and they didn't. The publisher didn't like the review that he gave, so Gertzman got fired, and they changed his review score.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say Gamergate is a lot different than Comicsgate, because Comicsgate is more about the industry itself, where Gamergate to me was more about the stuff around the industry, right? Which is, like I said,
it was definitely specifically geared more towards not the games themselves, but I mean the journalism, obviously, and the ethics and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then the companies, the ethics in the companies themselves with buying reviews like this and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's dishonest marketing. Mm-hmm. And only a little bit of that kind of coincides with some of what Comicsgate's complaints are.
Yeah.
But I will say this, they're both getting treated like the antis are just as nasty on both sides, and there apparently seems to be just as many sexual predators on the anti side.
There's also
of both of them.
And there's also a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few of the same people that were anti-Gamergate that were also anti-Comicsgate.
Yeah.
But the whole...
It makes me wonder, though, if they actually had an interest in both things at all, or if they're just following where do I need to...
I think they're following the outrage, in all honesty.
Yeah, I was going to say, where do I need to go and act offended now so I get attention?
Mm-hmm. Because, people will say, it was all because... I might have to say her name now. All you care about is who Zoe Quinn was sleeping with. I don't give a shit. Right? Yeah. Who Zoe Quinn was sleeping with. It doesn't matter to me. What I do matter is if she slept with somebody to get a better heads up on her projects.
Which honestly, I think that's the only way that any rag would consider her game a game. So
that's a good point. And Zoe Quinn is a hack fraud. Yeah, thank you, Turbo. That's a good point. But no, that whole situation, when people try to compare the two, and then they try to throw alt-right, and I was like, what? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I've seen a lot of the underside of Gamergate, right? And I say underside, I mean those people who were like the extreme. We got to fight the SJWs every time we, and not worry about the.
The ones that were all anti. That's all they cared about was the SJW aspect of it.
Yeah,
wasn't really supposed to be part of it.
Well, because there was two parts of. Well, it was one big part, but people wanted to try to split it off, right?
Yeah.
There was the ethics part where people are saying, there's these people are not prescribing any journalistic integrity or ethics to, stuff like that. Yeah, GG Revolt, exactly. That no application of ethics. So that was a push to you need to apply ethics to your stuff. The thought being, which is a give or take, because I've always said ethics can be in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. Unless there is a standard in place, which there is, the Society of Professional Journalism does have that standard in place. It's a matter of who follows it, and if you will,
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that side. Then where there was the whole we got to get these SJWs and blah blah blah. I was like, no. I said, what you don't realize is that one is feeding the other.
Yeah.
Right, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean the SJWs they're just a cancer on every industry, really. They really became they came big into play in the Gamergate thing because they were the ones heading up a lot of these smear campaigns of they're all misogynists and racist. And that seems to be the tactic with Comicsgate. They're all misogynists and racist.
Yeah, that's the dog whistle, right? That's what they tried to do, So it's let's see here what's going on up here.
And I also think that both of them are eventually just kind of became a way for gamers to keep each other up to date on stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of controversial in gaming, and Comicsgate's kind of going the same way now, like the hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they point to they obviously pointed to relevant stuff, like different journalists doing stuff, or on the Comicsgate side, you know, this pro just said such and such, or this book just got canceled because of this and stuff like that. But it became a nice thing about it, basically, it was an easy way for gamers to also find each other and safely chat with each other, knowing that both of them are on the same side, I guess.
Yeah. And
not going to suddenly, I mean, other than, you know, your usual gamer dunks, but... And same with Comicsgate. Comicsgate, the tag has kind of become a really good way to find indies that, you know, aren't going to be biased, you know, shitheads.
And they're not going to, I mean, and honestly, you're never going to see them published on the big two anymore at this point.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and that goes back to saying if there even is going to be a big two, you know?
Yeah, I honestly think that they are going to become the kind of medium-sized two.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, possibly, especially with Marvel, just IP holders.
Yeah. What am I saying? Oh, yeah. The whole thing is like, I said it from the beginning when Gamergate was going on and people were like, you know, we got to deal with these game journalists. I said, you need to deal with journalists.
Yeah.
Period. Because I said from the beginning that it was not confined to the video game industry.
Well, I think even the gamers knew that.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to make that leap. And I understand why.
Yeah.
But
the Zoe thing gave gamers at least a chance to finally go, told you so. Mm-hmm. We knew you were doing that.
Well, as
now you've been caught with your pants down, you know?
Yeah. It says Total Biscuit, God rest his soul, what he said about it during the time. And he was right on point. He says, the whole thing with Gamergate was just throwing petrol on an already started fire.
Yeah.
It goes way back. It's like Seth said earlier. It was trying to, you know, it's trying to retcon things, right? Like they tried to retcon, you know, Comicsgate about milkshakes. Comicsgate was going on well before the whole milkshake thing happened.
Yeah. Shoot, I said Comicsgate was going to happen while Gamergate was still in its, like, heyday.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I followed pretty much intensely Gamergate until August of 2015 when they finally had the AirPlay thing. I don't know if you remember that or not. But where, you know, they you know, these people gathered together and then there was a bomb threat and then they all finished talking outside in the heat in Florida.
Yeah.
But what was the most important thing was in discussing that, especially when they got to the outside portion, they asked the two people there from the Society of Professional Journalists, this, and this, are these conflicts and should they have been disclosed or should somebody else have in that situation have reported on them? He said, absolutely. That's all I needed.
Yep.
That's all I wanted. So my thing was Gamergate was right. You know?
Oh yeah. I decided that Gamergate had won at the point where places were closing down or sites were closing down because they weren't getting the engagement anymore.
Right.
Or they were switching to other stuff.
Yep.
Oh, what was it? One of them getting sued for being a piece of shit.
Yep.
And then, like, everybody in general, other ones adopting codes of ethics that they actually posted.
Yeah.
And others being forced to actually disclose their ties to their subject and this and that. I was like, that's what we wanted. Mm-hmm. So we're done, right? Like, we won. We did it. Yeah. The only people keeping it alive are anti-Gamergate.
Yeah, I was going to answer the question because that question was just asked. Like, why is the hashtag still alive though? And
right,
that's why.
Matt Myers.
Yeah, people like Matt Myers.
Yeah,
there are people out there who want to still blame. They blame Gamergate for Trump.
Yeah.
Just because there were certain people in Gamergate, and I know that and I know some of those people who were very pro-Trump. Guess what? A lot of people distanced themselves from Gamergate because there were some people who were pro-Trump.
Yeah, the only reason it is still alive and keeps being revived, the only people that revive it are the people that supposedly hate it, the antis, because they need something.
Yeah, they need something to blame.
Yeah,
because
to be heroes of or victims of.
Yeah, they couldn't, like, Trump couldn't have just got elected by chance, right? Or by, that more people in 50 different states voted for him than Hillary Clinton, right? It has to be something. Something had to start it. It had to be Gamergate. I bet there are some people in Gamergate wishes Gamergate was that powerful.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Like,
you think Gamergate
to be able to have a hand in the government. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on.
But we all know it was all about ethics in video game journalism and electing Donald Trump. I mean,
yeah. And that's the thing, because Donald Trump is a very big bludgeon when it comes to the fake news that we've seen. I mean, what's really funny is how, and I've seen this. It happened a lot in Gamergate, and it was really started, you really saw it a lot in 2016 on the mainstream. They would say the term fake news was started by the media.
Yeah.
Because they wrote articles about how do we have to identify and take care of fake news, right?
How to spot fake news. It was funny, though, because their version of fake news was anything that goes against our narrative that we're trying to push.
And so
anything with actual facts that disputes what we're seeing.
And so the absolute madman of a president that we have took their term and used it against them. He's like that when he was up there. I mean, he was doing it. When he was president-elect, and he was doing a press conference, and one guy, I think it was, what's his name, that Jim Acosta guy, and he kept trying to say something. And he told him, "Quit being rude. Don't be rude." And he says, "No, I'm not going to answer your question." And he said, "No, you're fake news."
I love that. See, I had no intention of liking Donald Trump. Like, the only strong feeling I had about that election was no Clintons, please. No.
Well, see, my thing was just I need a disruptor. I don't care who it is. At that point. I don't. Yeah, even though he ran as Republican, I don't want a politician. I don't want somebody who's been in it for X, Y, Z years. I want somebody outside of the whole thing. Was my first inclination to Donald Trump? No. I'll be honest with you.
Well, that was definitely my thing too. I was definitely I would love somebody that's just like somebody completely different. It'll be refreshing, and I didn't even care what party.
Yep.
Both parties have platforms that I agree with, and they both have platforms that I don't.
Right.
So I always, if I'm choosing somebody, I go off of like the person.
Yeah.
And their stuff. That's why I was like, no Clinton, please.
Yeah, I was just like done with Clintons no matter what.
Yeah, so when Trump won, like, I didn't know I was going to be happy.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like...
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Woohoo! Yeah, I was kind of like, woohoo, this will be interesting. Yeah. Like, this is going to be interesting.
I'll put it this way.
And he keeps making me like him a little bit. So
I'll put it this way, as a friend a friend of mine said one time. Even if he's a terrible president, the memes will be glorious.
Right, and they have been.
They have been, and and it hasn't been all that bad. So.
He's been more entertaining than W. So.
Oh yeah. With W, it was all like, you fool me once, shame on you. You fooled me twice, I can't be fooled again.
It's funny because W was very unintentionally funny because I would be like, ha, man, we're fucked. Like. Wait, Trump, I'm like, I can't believe he actually said that. Damn.
Right. It's like, I mean, that's the reason I call him the absolute madman. It's like the madman actually did it. Like, what are you doing? Oh yeah, that's a good point. The media also started they started Learn to Code during the Obama administration. I was very aware of that.
They did.
Because Obama's the one actually was saying that, coal miners and people like that need to learn how to do new things, and that's when the media started this whole Learn to Code thing.
Coal miners need to learn to code. We don't need coal.
Yeah, we don't need coal. We need coders. We need people who can code and blah blah blah. Let me tell you something about coders, okay? Let's say I'm a coder, right? And I'm coding. I drop dead, fall out into the floor, die, right? Piper is also a coder. Guess what? She just gets right inserted into my job. Yeah. So yeah, there is a demand for coders because that's the world we're living in. We're living in a digital age. So does learning to code guarantee you? Not really, because it depends on establishment.
Well, because a lot of people have already been pushed to the Learn to Code thing for many, many years.
I mean, I was when I was in school, like in '98. I graduated in 1998. I'm old. And even then, they were saying like learn computer stuff. Learn this. Try to
all of the computer things. And the main one was Learn to Code. Like it was, really like, big. Like
coding and networking. That was the big things.
Yeah.
That they pushed on us was coding and networking. I
remember at least for the longest time there was jobs that like you needed to know like C+ or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't part of the goddamn job, you just needed that on your resume. It was ridiculous.
And now who uses C+? Right?
Right?
Who cares?
That was like C++.
Yeah, I mean,
plus. I'm not sure. There's a lot of pluses.
For example, I got two friends. One, he graduated around the same time, probably about a year or two after I did. And he went that route. He got different licenses and degrees and things like that, and he got him a great job. I had another friend who was a little bit younger. Took him he was like 3 or 4 years behind us. Right? He can't find a job. He went into the same, went the same thing as my other friend did, but he can't find a job. Why? Those jobs got filled.
Yeah.
So the whole
it's just like there was supposedly this huge nursing boom.
Yeah.
So nursing schools, like they got flooded, tons and tons of people. That's not cheap. Granted, it's cheaper than being a doctor, but it's not cheap. And now there's way more nurses than there are physicians.
We are going to have a guest. It's going to be the miserable Samoan, Mr. Turbo.
Oh, I was going to say it's going to be Turbo.
Yeah, he just said, "Let me on." I'm like, "All right."
Sweet. We can always have Piper story time about Gamergate and Comicsgate and how I ended up in them. And actually, me ending the way I ended up in each one of them shows a huge difference about each one of them, too.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, go ahead. Tell your story about Gamergate and then, segue into the...
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Story time with Piper. Once upon a time, Gamergate happened. And everybody died. The end.
That was a good story.
Right? No, I heard about it through Twitter. Well, I heard about it through Twitter and a lot of the websites that, yes, I used to frequent. Because I was stupid. And so... from what I was getting from my Twitter feed and the random articles that I was reading, I was 100% under the impression that Zoe was a game dev, for one.
I'm sorry, I was drinking and nearly spit out my drink.
Holy shit, I'm surprised you let me in here.
You didn't think I would? I mean...
Yeah. I thought you were...
You thought I was just fooling around? No, fuck it. I don't care.
Well, now that I'm on the stream, I figure I should introduce myself to the viewers.
This is Matt Myers.
It might say Turbo on my little icon on Discord, but I actually go by Miserable Samoan now. I rebranded. You might occasionally see me shitting up the chat. 0.5.
We appreciate any viewers, even the ones who.
I like it when the chat gets shat up.
Yeah.
Because it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But I noticed that you guys were talking about Gamergate and the difference between this and Comicsgate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've noticed something between the two. It's like people in Comicsgate are making the same mistakes
Yeah.
that Gamergate people do. Okay, I see it occasionally. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
But you'll see people as like, we have to police people's behavior. We can't let this get out of control. I'm like, once you start focusing on all that crap, is when you will.
It's when you lose the plot.
It starts to
Yeah.
because that's what happened with Gamergate. People got way too concerned with all of the extra bullshit, and it's like, just stay focused. If you just stay focused, everything else will take care of itself. There's no need to.
Yeah. The problem with it's like I was talking.
You get
about,
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was like remember when I was talking about the schism, the whole ethics people and anti-SJW people, right?
Here's my thing: like those two can coexist. It didn't have to
be a split.
Like divulge into shit.
Right. You don't have to get involved with people if you don't want to be involved with them going after SJW. You don't have to. Just don't worry about it. Let them do their thing. And they're always worried about, well, it makes XYZ look bad. Who cares?
My big thing was the antis are going to call you all that stuff regardless.
Right.
So,
so it's not, you might as well act like it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing with, I think the big thing, here's the biggest difference between Gamergate and Comicsgate. Yes, there was a few people here and there. Gamergate was a lot of consumers and not a lot of people involved in the industry directly that would come out and say, oh, yeah, they're correct. Yeah,
that's one thing I've noticed with Comicsgate. There are people within that industry that are willing to be like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
this is not right. You have people like Ethan Van Sciver, who was a big name in Gamergate. That did, like David Jaffe, maybe, and then after a while he backpedaled on that. So
and maybe Mark Kern. I mean,
I was gonna say Mark Kern. Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah,
Mark Kern.
But not many in the gaming industry.
Yeah, because they know the press would have their asses if they even dared speak out. So
yeah,
in that case, they were at the mercy of the press.
Yeah, there's like a ton. I mean, we're talking about I think at the most, I think the last numbers I saw, we haven't seen the yearly numbers from last year yet, but the 2017 numbers, we're looking like comics was like 1.7 billion or something like that.
Yep.
But we're talking with gaming, we're talking billions.
Yeah. GTA 5
by itself, is like what?
GTA 5 by itself. I can't remember the number, but I do believe it broke the record for most money ever made by a piece of
entertainment.
Like most entertainment media. Like I was shocked when that happened. I'm like, a fucking wow! Video games have come a long way.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was young. So this was back in ancient times when we, stones.
You're an old bastard.
Yeah.
you had to use the crank on the computer to stay on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to had the hamster in the old modem.
Yep.
But I remember when Final Fantasy VII came out, and it was like beating blockbusters in Hollywood, right? As far as money was made.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we're talking about a $40 game versus a $7 ticket. So
that's how much it cost back then.
Like $40 you had to get a video game, but still.
Yeah.
When you look at it like that, I mean, but still, even then, you could start seeing that video games were going to be something one day. But then like you said, GTA lifetime sales, over time, it was like I think it was like 31 billion. It was something ridiculous. It was a ridiculous amount of money.
Damn.
Yeah. It was. I mean,
by the way, you have to forgive me for saying that's how much it cost back then. If you can't tell, I'm like, oh god, this is going to piss off the other two people. I'm significantly younger than everyone else.
It's okay. Well, you see, we also had a situation back in the day where game cartridges, like for Super Nintendo and 64 and stuff, some of them could get up to $100. Because it was more expensive to put stuff on a cartridge because you had to put the microchips and all that good shit in there. But then, when CDs came out, it's like, hey, we can do all that shit on a CD. It's great, And it got cheaper. But now we're back.
Yeah, now CDs are obsolete now.
Yeah, now we're at.
But they're going to be eventually.
Now they're doing like with Blu-ray media, but even that's going to be eventually. It's just going to be all download.
I don't like that shit. I would like to have a physical copy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they figure out a way to keep. I kind of, how the Switch has, theirs is on basically on they're basically SD cards. The games come on. I mean, I'm hoping that they give you at least that option if you want to buy a game, and then if you at least have it to play, and when that console goes obsolete,
Yeah.
Because
that's what I want is I still want a physical copy because if I lose it myself, okay, that's me being stupid.
Yeah.
But if something fucks up or glitches out with a system or this and that, and I lose it that way,
yeah,
that's gonna piss me off.
Yeah.
So is the comic industry experiencing the same issues?
It's on a very big downward spiral. And a lot of it has to do with quality.
Yeah.
It's a lot of quality issues, and see that's the big difference between Gamergate and college. With Gamergate, it was all about the video game journalists that covered the industry, and less about the industry itself. This is about the actual industry, and like they said, the anti-Comicsgate people have tried to retcon it, talking about milkshakes. The whole story about that was there was I think it was Heather Antos, had this thing where her and some people were hanging out. Editors, they're all females, all a bunch of editors at Marvel, and they were hanging out, and they all said, they posed with their milkshakes, and they said, "Make mine milkshake," because the term has always been "Make mine Marvel," right?
Yeah.
And they were, just doing this little girl power thing. Well, that got diversity in comics. Your boy Zach.
So basically, it was like the in real life version of "Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda."
Essentially, yes. This is pretty much what it was. And then. What's his name? And then diversity in comics, your boy Zach, he comes out and he says, "This is stupid, LOL," kind of thing. It's like this is dumb.
Oh yeah, I can imagine the amount of shit he got for just daring to say that.
Yeah.
You see, and Comicsgate was already going on, but they decided it was about them because they need that attention.
Because people were already. I mean, Turbo, you remember? People were already complaining about female Thor and shit like that. That was in 2014.
Yeah,
I mean, that's when Gamergate was going on. So
was that? That was when that horrific panel that got mocked, where it was unsolicited opinions on
yes,
yeah, exactly.
that kind of stuff is what really started to get the ball rolling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Just how can you not realize how cringy you're being when you write stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. And of course, the whole thing is they're saying, "Oh, we're showing our diversity. We're showing." No, look, I don't care about your diversity. I want you to write a good book, right? I don't give a shit about.
Here's the distinct advantage people in Comicsgate have over Gamergate.
Mm-hmm.
They can, through crowdfunding websites, just replace the shit they don't like with their own stuff.
Yeah,
that's the big push. We're just going to drop you guys and make our own stuff.
And here's the funny thing, because I know
game design is too expensive to do that.
Turbo, I know you've read Goddess Mode.
Yeah, that was an interesting first read for a comic virgin,
Yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, this is his first ever comic book, and it's
oh god,
yeah, fucking Goddess Mode.
You guys were explaining to me Zoe Quinn's elevator pitch for that.
Yeah,
and the call one night, and she said it was with The Verge. That's what I believe that was the publication that was giving her the interview.
Yeah,
and she said that it was gay as hell or something along those lines.
Yeah,
I'm like, all you have to do is look at the fucking cover to see that. You didn't have to even say anything.
But that's all they have to sell is look at our diversity.
Look at the 1% of the population that the gay community actually makes up.
Yeah,
you're trying to market to them. I mean, sure, I've always viewed comics as like a niche kind of fandom,
and it is.
So there's always going to be like a smaller amount of people paying attention to it. But it's like, even then, why do you have to be? Has subtlety died? I don't know.
Right?
It's
The
like,
biggest thing they're doing to kill themselves, though, is what they're doing is they're going, we want to better reach this other part of the market. So instead of expanding their target market, they decided to narrow it down to a smaller percentage of people and insult everybody that makes up the rest of the market. And then they can't figure out why they can't sell. It's like, because you made your target market smaller. And not only that, but how many of the people in your target actually buy comics?
Yeah.
But you're going to insult everybody else that buys comics.
Now, here's the thing. Here's where I said, and that's what the biggest difference between Gamergate and Comicsgate is that actual comic book industry people who have been in the industry are coming out and saying, no, this is crap. I can't get a job anymore at Marvel or DC or any of these other ones. I'm going to make my own shit and, hope that the crowds will fund my book. Right.
Also, another thing, I do not recall a single lawsuit being involved with Gamergate.
Right. Exactly.
But they're like, with Mark Waid getting sued, which I have a feeling he's going to have to settle out of court.
Yeah. He's either going to settle out of court or eat shit, one or the other. Yeah.
Man, the shit that you read about that guy is just that guy's a real piece of work.
So let me do a totality here. Give me just a second. I got to pull out the old calculator. The old adding machine. Let's see, where is it at? Somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so that's 2,045. And plus 8566. I know this is boring, but it's not dead air. But so one of the arguments I saw by an anti-Comicsgater, a certain blue-haired one.
Oh gosh,
Randy Harper?
No, not quite.
That was Gamergate.
Not quite a land whale.
Sorry, I've got the gates mixed up.
But as I said earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but I said there is a lot of overlap in the. But okay, so one of them said that Zoe Quinn's Goddess Mode was more successful than Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog because Zoe's book shipped, I think it was like 15,000 books. And now, I think I've explained to you, Turbo, before the difference between shipped and sold.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, they do that on purpose. They ship the crap out of them and force people to take on piles of them.
So shipped to the comic book store does not necessarily mean sold to individuals, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, a comic book store, they might ship, they might order that many. Doesn't mean they're going to sell.
Yeah.
Now, so they said compared to Ethan's, and I just did the math, 10,611, right? That that's nothing. Look how much more successful Zoe Quinn is compared to Ethan. Now, but here's the difference: 5, 3, 8, 4, 5, 6, and I have to add in 9, 0, 3,
arithmetic
7, 8.
With Optimus.
Yeah. I can't do big numbers.
Yep, long division wasn't his strong suit.
Yeah, that's why. Neither is adding.
Damn. Are you the type of person that has to use your hands to add?
Well,
you can't do
it.
5.
Yeah, I can't do head math. If
it's a manageable number.
I can do it in my head if it's manageable, but once it gets a bigger number,
I was going to say, if it's a smaller number, I can do it in my head. Mm-hmm. Usually still do it.
I'm about to say something that's going to make you all cringe. There are no Sheldon Coopers in the greater 0.5.
There is definitely no Sheldon Cooper.
I don't know, when it comes to socially awkward.
Yeah.
So looking at, remember, more successful, right? That's what they were saying, that Goddess Mode was more successful than Cyberfrog.
Because
made
Diamond pushed.
Ethan made $628,834 on a book that he's not released yet.
Shit. This man is fucking loaded. And he hasn't even put out the comic yet.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, he's made
Yeah, he's still working on it. Once it releases, if he gets it gets it out there, he can continue to make money on that comic.
Yeah. What you were explaining earlier about, like, they're saying, Zoe Quinn's comic shipped out more books, and you know what I'm saying? It reminds me of, like, WWE inflating the attendance numbers of their shows. So people look at it and go, ooh, there was 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3. You knew I was going to be able to get through this without making a wrestling reference.
Which is fine. I've done that before, too. It's fine.
But it's the same thing.
It's inflated numbers. Exactly what it is. Yeah. Marvel is notorious for shipping, like, let's say a comic book shop orders 4 copies of something. They'll ship 8. Yeah. Right? So they'll double that, so it looks like, we shipped, when actually they were ordered 20,000 copies. We shipped 40,000 copies.
I remember you telling me you were like, some comic shops are telling them to cut that shit out.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's
it's killing them, because then they're left with a crap ton of basically kindling. And
Ethan Van Sciver had a tweet the other day where he said he talked to somebody who owns a comic book shop, and it's a chain of comic book shops, so it's not like a small thing, right? And the guy said, due to unsold books, overships, or just bad books that are like just sitting on the shelves or whatever, he said he's losing $100,000 every 4 months.
Oof.
Yeah.
Now realize that in a year. Now think about this. In a year, that the guy is losing what Ethan has made.
Yeah.
Man.
That's ridiculous.
And this is happening to tons of comic shops, and so they're going out of business left and right. Like, they're dropping like flies, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
I remember I saw something today about this guy who owns a comic shop, and he was like saying he was going to give it away for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
What?
Yeah.
Like, who wants?
Yeah, like, it's like, why would I take this over when I'm just gonna hemorrhage money?
Yeah. I mean, he literally says he's not making money on it because he can't have time to run it. I'm like, then why would I want to get involved?
Take on this comic shop so you can take on all the debt that's tied with it, please. It's free.
And what's really cool, and I think it's good for people. Hey, Taco's here.
Yay, Taco!
Taco's our unofficial mascot for the show. It is a nice fat cat who, for some reason, likes to watch our show.
I just noticed that on the Greater Point 5 Discord, there is a voice chat called the Cab Containment Zone. I didn't notice that.
That is our AFK channel.
It's when the gay starts spreading everywhere to the other channel.
Yeah, so we had to put Cab back in his place.
We had to put him back in there.
Turbo's getting a nice tour tonight.
Even though I've been in this server for like 2 weeks, I haven't really looked at it. I haven't examined everything properly.
Yeah, I'm gonna need your help with some stuff too, because you know how to fiddle with admin stuff. So I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
Actually, I think my favorite part of the channel right now is the fact that there is a meme dump channel that is completely empty, but all of the other channels are full of.
Yeah, every server we've been involved in where there's a meme dump, it just never gets.
Yeah, we end up post everywhere else.
Yeah, we end up posting memes everywhere else. Yeah,
it's like you can't. That's unreasonable to ask people to just keep it all in one channel.
Should just rename it the Meme Containment Zone.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea was like to keep the general chat, clean, quote unquote, but that didn't work out either. So.
Now, are you inviting fans into this server? Or
yeah, I had last week I had a thing where we were going to live watch. What were we doing? We were sniping something.
We were live watching Ethan watching Ren.
That's right, yeah. And I said, so, since they're doing that, hey, let's watch it. And what I did is I played it through the bot, the rhythm bot. And so everybody would be on time and we could listen. And I said, if you wanted to watch it, you could watch it alone, just, mute the sound. And it was pretty close. It was like maybe a second difference, So, So that's why I added fans, and I might open it up again because it seems like people like to come and hang out and stuff like that. Yeah, fan chat / bully corner was. Yeah.
I made that.
That's a good name. I like that. Come in here to get
the bullying lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
That's what it is in the
Myers Discord.
The super secret Myers Twitter Discord.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. We found out Myers Twitter was so popular that Turbo successfully cooed another Discord.
Yeah, we opened up we were in a Discord server that we were using for a while, and then it got people stopped posting in there, so we moved into a new one, and then we repurposed that old one and said it was the Myers Twitter Discord, and I posted a link to it on Twitter, and fucking 100 people came into this server.
And then we went into voice chat. We decided to go into voice chat, man. People just jumping in, wanting to talk to us. It was great.
There was 20 people in there. And then since then, it has never happened again.
Yeah.
Aww.
And it's just as bad as it was before.
Aww.
Except there's 200 people in there now, and you're really weirded out. It's how the fuck in a Discord server with this many people in it?
Mm-hmm. Just an occasional post here and there. It's
it's one person updating. Oh, this happened. Oh, okay.
My
what about the memes?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's we have good times.
Graded Point 5 is seeking aggressive expansion. They're gonna have merch, a fan Discord.
Mm-hmm.
On their Patreon page. If you donate a certain amount of money, you can come on the show,
Oh, yeah.
I'm making all this shit up, but it's definitely going to happen.
You never know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's some things I've thought about. I don't know.
Have you considered, not using Patreon anymore? Because
I'm thinking
what
about
Jack Conte said.
I'm thinking about it because when the owner of a company says that it's unsustainable,
yeah, that is
that's the biggest red flag you can red flag, dude.
Oh, by the way, my company is not very good.
Yeah,
but you should keep using our services.
Mm-hmm. I'll put it this way: I'm gonna get the $5 to $10 that I'm gonna make in the next couple months and just put it in a bank account and probably switch to Subscribestar or something like that at some point.
Yeah. The thing is, Subscribestars, their terms of service says they can terminate your account for any reason.
Yeah, that's kind of...
It's not like Patreon where they're well, you have to do certain things before we consider taking action against you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we have shirts with the Graded Point 5 logo, and then underneath it says with the hard 5?
Hard 5.
Hey, I got Indicron to make a shirt called with the hard IE. So I mean,
yeah.
Once people figure out what that means, they're going to have a conniption fit over it. But that's kind of the goal, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's why they went with it. They get it. They know what it's about. They don't care.
We don't care if you know that's what that's alluding to.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, if anybody tries to call him on it, they can say that it's alluding to the fact that there was an Indicron with a Y.
Yeah, why are you so racist? Why do you think we're...
Yeah, why did that make you think racist things? What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Oh, somebody wants us to do T-shirts. Yes, I'm thinking of... I'm really looking at it. I'm looking.
You could have Cab design the...
Oh, yeah. Get Cab to design the...
And have a hidden Catboy on the...
Of course.
The shirt.
Yeah.
You could have some gay shit in there too, I think. I won't say that on air, but
Yeah, maybe if I split the profit with Cab, he would be willing to do it because right now he's like, I'm not going to do it unless I do it for money. I was like, well, I understand that, Cab, but you're also.
I'll do it for free.
How can I come
that
here and
sounded
call Cab
awful
when he ain't even here?
Do it for free. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it for free. I will do it for some Taco Bell.
That'll work. Cab
That's
says,
a really old joke that only 2 followers probably remember now.
Caleb just showed up and he says, how can I come in and call Cab a homo when he ain't even here?
We can just relay the message.
Yeah,
Cab has spidey senses when it comes to someone calling him gay.
I'm going to guarantee you something, guys, both of you. When I finally sign off for when I sign this off, he will fucking wake up and it's like, oh, I missed it again. I'm like, yes, Cap.
No, he's been on Twitter. I've been talking to him on Twitter.
What the fuck?
Before I came on here.
What?
Yes. He was, and then he was like, I bet Optimus would let you on if you asked him.
What the fuck? Cap!
I bet he.
And then he said it because he's been feeling, his sleep schedule's all effed up, and if he comes on in the state he's in, it's gonna be not good. Like the quality won't be good.
It'd be hilarious. What are you talking about?
Right? I just think that would make it funnier.
What will it be like 20% more gayer? That's what I was thinking.
I like that we've basically memed this man into being a homosexual.
You're talking about Ethan Van Sciver.
It's canon now.
Ethan Van Sciver watching another stream.
Uh-huh.
Was he playing his Casio keyboard?
Yeah, you came in one night and I was like, I put it in the bot and you said like, who's playing their Casio keyboard? Yeah, he plays he's got a few songs. He's got a
Yamaha.
Yeah, he's got
oh, that's cute.
He plays some songs. He's got this one song called the Butter Song. Things like that. He's an absolute mad lad. Right now, what he's been doing lately, he's been this other creator named Mike S. Miller. He's been dunking on him because he's been done some stupid things. So the other night he goes into his stream, on Mike Miller's stream, and he's like in the middle of the stream, he's like showing pictures. And he said, "Hey, Mike, look at this, Mike." And all it is like things that are like a hole in the ground, but it's shaped like a penis. So he kept like doing that shit. He's like, "Hey, Mike, look at this, Mike."
Why is he dunking on this individual?
Well, for one, the first thing he dunked on, Mike had a sketch. It was a rough sketch of something that was drawn by an artist named Mike Waringo, and this man passed away in 2009, I believe it was, and so I mean, rough sketches are just rough things. Most people they throw them out, because it's just rough. Well, he gave it to Mike, and when Mike took it, and he drew his own characters on it, right? But then the mistake he made is that he put Mike Waringo's signature on it, like he had did it.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. Whereas in the comic book industry, the correct way to do this is to put your name, saying like it will say Mike S. Miller, and then on the bottom it will say after Mike Waringo, right? Basically saying you came in and finished the work. Right.
Did he forge his signature?
Well, he put his signature on. I don't know how he did it, but he did put it on there. And so people were like giving him shit, and Ethan gave him shit for that, right? He said he kept saying, he's like, "Mike, you're my friend, but you're a dummy. You're a big dummy."
Right? That is pretty mind-bogglingly stupid. I mean,
so
really
Mike,
why would you like? First of all, people aren't going to be cool with that, so I have no idea why.
Right. So Mike,
you have no common sense whatsoever.
I'm gonna give Mike credit for this. He did a funny thing. You remember Turbo? You remember Scott Kurtz?
Oh, God, yes, Taco HUD.
Yeah, you're. I believe he was on one of the videos you made in. I think it was your Too Many Cooks video.
Oh yeah, the Too Many Cooks video.
Yeah, where you had him, and it said he's fat.
Yeah, it's Scott Steiner screaming he's fat. I'm sorry, but this man is incredibly fat.
Yeah. I'm not one to talk. I'm a big boy too. It's just that he is very. I mean, like, yeah.
It's folds.
Yeah.
Folds after folds.
So he goes to Mike and he says, like, "Mike Waringo was a friend of mine. I can't believe you would do this to his art. I've been in tears over this."
Oh God! I thought that was a woman that he was talking to.
No, that wasn't a woman.
No, because all I saw was bits and pieces because I didn't want to dig into it or whatever I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I just saw this like these screenshots of these DMs, right? So, and I didn't know who they were with. I just knew one of them was Mike.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I just kind of assumed, that he was, getting those messages back.
But that was Scott Kurtz, not a woman.
Yeah, it was Scott Kurtz, not a woman.
That just made the situation like 1,000 times funnier. Oh my God.
Now here, it gets
better. The way they read, I was just like, man, this is. Like, this shit needs to calm the fuck down. Like,
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It gets better. It gets better. So eventually, you know, the Mike Wieringo's brother Matt, who's the executor of his estate and stuff like that, says, you know, hey Mike, just I don't think it's cool that you put your signature on it. You put his signature on it, could you take it off? And Mike's like, yeah, okay, done. You know, he took it off, right? But he was still giving crap, you know, for quote drawing over, even though it was a rough. It was nothing really, you know. Yeah, it might be worth something to somebody, you know, be sentimental value for, you know, being.
I was going to say, I think the big thing there is the sentimental value since he's not, you know, alive.
So he told Scott Kurtz, he said, fine, I'll just burn it, right? And then he did. What? And then Scott Kurtz got even more pissed off. Why did you do that? And he said, you told me to burn it.
Scott Kurtz. Oh, what is that for, like making a famous webcomic?
I mean, what? I mean, if you call writing on Penny Arcade's coattails famous, yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm saying. Jesus Christ.
I know what you're saying.
He has some level of notoriety.
Yeah. PvP Online is his webcomic.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway. So he did say something like, but yeah, it was Kurtz, you know, make sure I get my story straight. Kurtz was the one who said, you know, you should burn it, right? So Mike did. He put it on a grill.
I thought you said something along the lines of, I'd rather you have burned it.
Yeah, I'd rather you have burned
drawn on it.
And then Mike said, okay. And then he went and made a video of him burning it.
So basically he was trolling him.
Now, I'm saying it's getting even
Fucked
better.
Up.
Yeah, I'm not even done yet. This is the best
Holy
part coming
shit.
up. So
I don't want to spoil anything, but
everybody thought that Mike had burned it, right?
Yeah, I was
gonna, he showed it and it was burnt and everything like that. He burned it on stream. I mean, he did it live stream and burned it. And Scott Kurtz cried like a little bitch because he burned it after he told him to burn it, right? So Ethan was like still calling Mike a dummy, right? Because he was calling him a dummy just for apologizing. He said, "Don't apologize to SJWs." That was his whole thing. Don't apologize to SJWs, kind of thing, right? And so
he's 100% correct. Yes.
Yeah. So Mike comes on.
I think I would have apologized, but said it was specifically for anyone that's genuinely hurt.
Specifically to Mike Wieringo's family. I did not.
Yeah.
That would be my apology. I would not care about what everybody else thought. But anyway. So then Mike Miller goes on Ethan's channel, and they're talking about it, and like Mike's, you know, so. He said, so what are you, you know, he said, you know, he called Mike a dummy, you know, he said, you shouldn't apologize and blah, blah, blah. And he said, you shouldn't have burned the piece. And then Mike said, what, this one? And he pulled it out. He didn't burn it. He burned a copy of it.
So he mind fucked him.
Yep.
It was all a ruse, and Scott Kurtz fell for it. Man. Was it? Speaking of fat comic writers, has anyone reminded Dan Slott of how fat he is? We used to do that occasionally, like Shamil, it's a person we know, and occasionally me, I'd be like, "Hey, Dan Slott, you're fat."
That's what's so funny to me. People talk about like how people, you know, like Comicsgate people harass women and stuff. I was like, not really. I said, if anything, they dunk on like, you know, the slobs that are, you know, the men. You know what I mean? Like more than
it's
the ones that resemble a comic book guy from this.
Yeah. Like Mark Waid and his like creeper looking bald fat, you know, head and, you know.
Man, I'm still in shock at the stuff you informed me of. Because to the viewers, in case you don't know, I'm kind of like out of the loop on a lot of stuff involving comics because like I said, Goddess Mode was the first comic I ever read because they put me up to this shit. They told me to read it, and they're like, it'd be interesting if you did like a video about this. Like, oh, it's the first time you read a comic and it was this hunking piece of shit of a comic. But I remember just thinking, like, because you were explaining to me who Mark Waid was. Mm-hmm. He would come into the offices and cry in the middle of the floor, knock stuff over. I'm like, is this what the hell?
How is this a man?
Is this how can you work with a psychopath like that? First of all, how did this never get recorded at least once?
Right?
Yeah.
In the age of smartphones, never once was this recorded, or was did this happen before smartphones were a thing?
I think it was before like we had camera phones.
Oh, okay.
Like that. Yeah.
All right. I was about to say.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he's done some like fucked up shit, like sending like when a certain comic publisher like went out of business. he sent them a black wreath.
Yep, you told me about this.
And said that your wife would be disappointed in you, where the guy's wife had just died like a couple months ago.
The fuck? Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, no, and he's known for, like, numerous people actually in the industry that had the misfortune of working alongside him have reported tons and tons of just temper tantrums that are like a giant toddler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? And they're gonna
post this lawsuit, right? Like after he got sued, didn't Marvel basically put a muzzle on him? And now his Twitter account is like him, nothing but him, like posting panels of comics, and stuff. He's never going to tweet any opinion of his own again. Like it's just not.
I'm surprised if he gets any actual job again. Like I can't believe.
Well, what's funny is like he started that whole his defense fund, and
but he's always talking about how much money he already has.
His lawyer has the same name as him, except like there's a different.
That's it's Bizarro World Mark Wade.
Yeah, Mark Zaid and Mark Wade. Yeah,
I still don't believe Mark Zaid is a real. I don't believe in Mark Zaid.
Is a real. I like that. Is he a real?
Is a real.
But what's
I think I was gonna say. Sorry.
Like when he broke all his action figures in his cubicle after getting told not to do, told no to
no on a pitch.
Wow.
Somebody in the chat said that?
Yeah, Seth said that in the chat. What a fucking baby. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, there's always...
Yeah. You're breaking your own property, you fuckhead. What is wrong with you?
I mean, I have gotten frustrated and pissed off enough to throw something, but usually the second that something... Yeah, but the second that something hits something, or if that something breaks, I am over whatever I was upset about. Like, because then I'm like... Oh, fuck, I just did that.
Dude, sometimes I tap into my Samoan rage and shit does not end well for the nearest inanimate object.
Yeah. It's like, remember the other week when we were reading an article and they started talking about fridging, I got mad and threw my keyboard?
Yeah.
I mean, that was just one, because it was like, I'm getting so sick and tired of seeing fucking fridging everywhere, so that's why I did
Stop using TV tropes as a fucking resource, you idiots.
What's really funny is, like, the person who made that trope is a fucking comic book writer.
That's how she got her
job. That's how she got her job.
Making a stupid ass trope, whining on her blog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whining can get you places.
Apparently, that's what happened with the person who's writing Riri Williams. By the way, that's the most...
Yep.
Still... Oh my god.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Brian Michael Bendis, what were you doing naming this child Riri?
I remember somebody blowing the fuck out of Gail Simone when they were like, because she asked something like, what was the virus that took over Iron Man's suit? And someone was like, Riri Williams.
that was the funny...
I swear, I laughed for like 5 minutes when I saw that.
Yeah. The virus that took... Riri Williams.
Riri. So now, I'm assuming that's like a nickname for the character?
No, Riri is her name. Riri.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of those fake 80s wrestling names.
Yeah, right. Riri Williams.
See, that's one thing that kills me about the characters they're making. They don't even try to hide the fact that they're like tokens.
Right.
Like, for real. The characters that they're making for their diversity are so fucking stereotypical and insulting. Their gay character... Yeah.
There was this guy that was suggesting that they should rewrite Batman to be black.
Yeah.
And even other black people were like, this is a dumb, stupid idea.
Well, I like one of the answers, because one of the responses was... Bro, the whole point of Batman is he used his white privilege to become Batman. And I was like, all right, that sounds stupid, but he's got a point. Like,
Bruce Wayne is a incredibly rich cracker that has all these cool gadgets.
Yep.
Right?
But there's another thing that's going on at Marvel, and some degree DC, that to write the character, you have to look like the character.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Because the new writer for Riri Williams is somebody who complained. And it says, they actually said, their pitch to Marvel, I kid you not, was, I should write Riri Williams because she looks like me.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk up to Gordon Ramsay and be like, let me cook in your restaurant. Just let me put on your chef's shirt. I'll automatically know because I look like you. Now I can cook in your restaurant.
I like how you use Gordon Ramsay too. That's a good example because
get out of the way, British Rage Man.
I know exactly how that would go because I've seen enough Hell's Kitchen. Wow. That would be your example. He would say that. Wow, who are you? You ignorant fuck. You think you could come into my restaurant and tell me how to fucking cook?
I remember he was at a restaurant where this French guy was the head chef, and he got mad at him and called him a French pig.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck, that's kind of...
He's got this new show on Fox called 24 Hours to Hell and Back, where basically he does everything.
Kitchen Nightmares, but it's
Kitchen Nightmares was fun.
Yeah, it's basically Kitchen Nightmares, but in a 24-hour period instead of a 1 week or something like that. But it is so funny because you got some of these people who are kind of arrogant and they think they know better than he does. He's like, "Excuse me."
I like Bar Rescue over Kitchen Nightmares in terms of
who did Bar Rescue.
I like
John
Bar
Taffer.
Rescue too.
Yeah, I've seen Bar Rescue.
Shut it down.
We've gone so far off.
It's fine.
Wasn't that there's that one DC writer, I can't remember who it was right now, that was getting pissed off because they were only giving him black characters.
Christopher Priest.
Yeah, and he was
accused of being a racist?
No, he's a black guy.
He's black. And so they're like, "Oh, quick! We need a black person to write these black."
Here's his
he's
policy.
Like, I want to write somebody else.
Here's his policy: if you come at me and you want me to write a black character, I'm not going to listen.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine. I can put myself in his shoes. I would get upset too. I was like, "Hey, man, just because I'm black doesn't mean you have to pigeonhole me."
Now, he had a great run. Christopher Priest had an amazing run on Black Panther back in the 90s and early 2000s. It was a great run. And did it pigeonhole him? Probably, right? Because
it's essentially getting typecast only.
But see, everybody talks about that, but they don't talk about his great run on Deadpool that he did around the same time. He also had an amazing run on Deadpool. And then, like he said, it's like, so DC Comics calls him. He says, "Hey, we want you to do Cyborg." He said, so I have to give him the whole speech that, I'm not doing this just because I'm a black guy writing a black character. And if you want to come at me with something else, fine. He said, then a month later, they said, come back and said, "What do you want to do, Deathstroke?" He said, "Is Deathstroke black?" They say no. He said, "All right then."
I think it's because Marvel, DC, whatever. They are so image conscious now that if a white writer were to take over a black character and have the character do something that would it would be a little edgy or something out of character, people would be like, "Oh, this cracker is ruining this great black character."
They don't even at this point they don't even have to actually write them doing anything yet. As soon as their name gets tied to writing that character and they're white, people are already pissed.
Well, it's funny because, wait a minute now. What's funny is Ta-Nehisi Coates did Black Panther and, in my opinion, ruined it. Because he made it about Black Panther, Black Panther suddenly cares about what's going on in Harlem. T'Challa does not give a shit what's going on in Harlem. T'Challa cares about what is
generally
going about.
Don't give a shit about what's happening.
T'Challa cares about what's going on in Wakanda because that's his country that he rules. So, and it's a very prosperous African nation in comics.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, huh?
Yeah. He is one of those. He's a blacktivist on Twitter. Or online.
Yeah, because I saw the governor of Virginia, Northam.
Yeah,
he is being required by his staff to read one of his articles as a part of a re-education process.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
God, that sounds terrifying.
And all these, I'm like, what the? Just resign. What the hell?
Now, I think I would resign instead of reading Ta-Nehisi Coates. I just don't even, at that point, I'd be like, I don't even want to be fucking governor anymore. But then Ta-Nehisi Coates, they gave him Captain America. And not like Sam Wilson, who's a black character, Captain America. They gave him Steve Rogers, Captain America.
Oh, Jesus.
And all because Ta-Nehisi Coates hates America, right? It's very clear from his writings. He absolutely despises America, the United States.
Is he a commie?
He's pretty much a commie.
I fucking hate this guy now.
I like that. You can identify a Ta-Nehisi Coates BP cover by a BP issue by the cover. It's always the same cover. So the whole they finally get a Captain America who's not back to not being a Nazi, and then the first thing he does is have Captain America renounce being Captain America.
That, from a logic standpoint, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So what did he go by then? By his real name?
I don't know what they're going to do yet. I mean, that issue just came out. Yeah,
I don't want to be called Captain America. I am Super Steve.
Super Steve? That sounds like a 4-year-old.
If I saw that shit in the
yes, Super Steve.
Super Steve, I'd be like, I'm done reading this. This guy's a virgin.
I kind of want them to do that so bad, though.
Well, see, and the thing is, he's not even doing anything original, right? Captain America did this back in the 70s. There was a good, and this really good, thing where he's talking, the whole thing was like he had a crisis of conscience where he was thinking, do I represent the ideals of America anymore? Because there are so many different, people have so many different ideas for America. It ain't just one dream. It's everybody has their own dream kind of thing. And so he renounced being Captain America, and for a while he became Nomad, and then eventually just the Captain, right? And then eventually he he became Captain America again because why is Steve Rogers not Captain America? That's stupid,
So I understand like that character was originally created as legal propaganda. Mm-hmm. So that is a lot to work with when that propaganda is not needed.
Right.
That era is completely gone, but you like the character enough. Mm-hmm. So having some identity.
Yeah, that's what I think when people say when people do that. I said this earlier, like, comics have always been political. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Captain America literally was punching Hitler in his first issue. I know, I get it, but that's not always that. Not all comics were political. I mean, like I said, Superman, his literal first comic was him like taking out a bunch of thugs and throwing a car at them.
Did they die?
Yeah, that's another thing. Back in the day, like
Superman literally killed them.
Yeah, Superman. He didn't like if thugs like fell off a bridge, he didn't save them. He just like, oh, oops.
Yeah. Well, that was the same with like early Batman. All of his villains managed to like accidentally kill themselves, or he would accidentally kill them.
Oh no, he had a gun.
Just straight up.
Superman
Go ahead.
Superman being a dick is not very surprising. Remember, we were looking through all those old covers of his comics where he's just being a complete prick.
Yeah.
And like abusing people.
Well, Dude, old Superman stuff is fucked up.
We're gonna do an episode one night of just super dickery stuff. Of all the fucked up things that my favorite one is still like him making Jimmy Olsen marry a gorilla.
Dude, he did so much shit to Jimmy, dude.
Oh, and remember the time he made himself like, the fucking king of Earth? And he said, now you will all pay me tribute. Yeah,
early Batman did also use a gun. At some point, the gun was supposed to be removed, and they were like, Batman's not supposed to kill anybody.
Yeah, so
that's when
they would accidentally kill themselves.
Yeah, they would just...
accidentally.
Yeah.
They would shoot themselves in the back of the head, and they would claim it was suicide.
And wrap themselves in a rug and put themselves in the garbage.
Because this was a time that every story arc or comic had like a villain of the month or whatever, basically.
Yeah, before you had your Jokers and things like that.
Yeah, before, and really what really inspired the comic writers and stuff to create rogues galleries of returning villains was because they were running out of ideas for their villains.
Because their villains were like you said, a flavor of the month villain. And
and they were running out of ideas for their little themed, villains and villain of the month in their stuff. And they were saying that they were getting dumber and dumber.
Seth says in the chat, early Superman destroyed a blighted neighborhood to force the government to build cheap public housing.
Did that really happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, based in red pilled Superman.
Right? Superman adopted Jimmy and beat the shit out of him over stupid shit, too.
Now remember Jimmy bought him a smoking jacket?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't smoke, Jimmy, and just burns the jacket in front of him.
Christ.
Yeah, dude, he was like the most abusive adopted father ever.
And one time he had Jimmy and fucking Aquaman in the middle of the desert, and he had the only water.
Yeah,
and he said that Superman and Aquaman had to fight to the death for the water.
Christ.
Oh, and there was one where he was like, there was like people in Metropolis.
That's not just being a dick. You're a sociopath if you.
There was one cover. It's great. Him standing over a fire hydrant that the water is running into the sewer, right? And these people in Metropolis, they're like, please, Superman, if we don't get any water, we'll die. And he's standing over it saying, not one drop.
Maybe it's because he was socially awkward because he's an alien. Oh, no, he was raised by human parents. Never mind. Yeah. That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
And the one time he made he made Lois Lane marry some other guy.
Yeah, there was another cover where like she's falling off of a cliff in a car.
Yep.
And he's like refusing to rescue her or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's refusing to rescue. There was another what's a good one? Oh, when she's in space and he cuts off her oxygen.
To be honest, early Superman was cool. Fuck.
Yeah, you get down to it, yeah.
Christ.
What's funny is like they talk. You remember that one Lois Lane issue where it's like she decided to spend 24 hours as a black woman.
Oh my god! I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
wow. Imagine if they did that today.
Right? I think that would literally go over like the Hindenburg.
They would have to turn her black. It can't have to make her a black woman.
They would have to. Like, she would have to stay black. Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's just black now. Superman has. Oh God, I was about to say something I shouldn't.
Yeah, we don't have Jordan here to give us permission.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think I think it's time to call it a night for the stream.
I didn't tell my story time,
Well, we'll tell the story time another time.
I know.
Getting a little late, and but I appreciate everybody who came out tonight. Thank you, Turbo, for showing up and lightening the mood and having a good time with us.
No problem.
I'd say almost half the stream was on topic. Almost.
Yeah, we almost.
We started talking about some things that weren't really comic related there for a little bit, but
Yeah, but who cares?
like a good captain, somebody directed our attention back to the proper topics.
Well, we were on comics. We weren't on Gamergate versus Comicsgate for very long. Or the compare and contrast.
I mean, there's really not much to compare.
About it, so.
There's really not much to compare. It's like one was about ethics, in journalism and SJWs and stuff like that. The other one is about SJW infiltration of an industry and people deciding, no, we're not going to put up with that shit anymore and actually make our own shit and then actually being successful at it. So, yeah.
This is good. You're summarizing at the end. That's pretty good.
Do it as a good host does.
Yes.
Graded 0.5 t-shirts win.
I need to
when we get the money to make them.
Right.
I need to start doing
make sure we have the women's one.
I need to start doing like Ethan does on his when he does his videos. He goes like how's it goes? He says, "Welcome to Comic Art Pro Secrets. I am Ethan Van Sciver, the world's most charming yet humble man."
Yeah.
Well,
Now I'm going to play my keyboard now.
It's like dun, 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 dun. I wish I could play an instrument. Then I could just play. See, I need to be like you, Turbo, and play the guitar, right?
Yeah, I
strum it out at the end.
Bruh, let's make a band, you guys.
There you go.
Nice.
You like La Bamba?
Yeah. So, anyway, guys. So that was good. We had fun, and hopefully we'll see you next week. And y'all have a good time. Later.
Bye-bye.